Welcome to MLG Orlando Open 2016. We've got FaZe Clan facing off against Team EnVyUs. I'm Fox. I'm joined by Chance. And we have a bracket up on your screen. Chance, tell the people about the bracket up on their screen.
Well, as you guys already know, Optic Gaming is going to be going against Elevate on the winners thing. You don't need the bracket. You guys know exactly what's going on. But that is the winners championship round at the moment. Of course, that is going to be going down on the Alpha stream. The matchup we have, which is the elimination match to, well, answer the question of who is going to be fourth place and who is still going to be fighting on between FaZe Clan and Team EnVyUs. Again, backs against the wall. Loser goes home in fourth place, and the winner, well, has the opportunity to play either Elevate or Optic Gaming, or both, obviously, depending on how things work out.
Yeah, and so getting more into this ban and protection, because we missed quite a little bit going on so far. First thing we see that stands out, the Shiva ban, of course, from Slasher, but moving forward, the Vesper ban from Apathy. Up until this point, many teams have been deciding just not to use the Vesper at all. However, Attach did just pull it out towards the end of their series previously before getting to this booth here to face off against Team EnVyUs. So EnVyUs, of course, doing their 10 seconds of research I'm sure it took to get to Reddit or watch the main stage, and they're going to ban it right out. Now, heading into the Specialist draft, Chance, what do you expect to see from both sides?
Well, being that it's Fringe hardpoint, super long lines of sight, you're going to have at least one, if not two, weapon specialists. You can see the Tempest is actually going to come in from both Clayster and Slasher. Honestly, I think I might give the Slasher the Tempest edge in that matchup. I know Clayster's done some dirty stuff with it, but Slasher seems incredibly consistent. And then, of course, you see that it actually is going to be a mirror image in the specialist points. But it's something that empirically it's very difficult to tell, other than just basically guesswork of paying attention to matches when, you know, looking at the difference between the specialists of these two teams. But that's the best guess I have. That Slasher. Slight edge over Clayster, and then we're used to Enable actually running the Heat Wave all the time. The switch has been made, though. He's rocking Kinetic, and Attach has taken that role over. See,
for me, I look at the Tempest matchup between Slasher and Clayster. I put Slasher as more of a Scythe player. I love the positioning he gets with, and the fact that I feel like the consistency in him getting at least 1 or 2 kills is much higher than many other players. Clayster, though, I put him as the stronger edge in terms of that Tempest play. He's such a great player at getting in those positions and making the most of it. How many highlight reel worthy plays do we see from Clayster on this map specifically with Tempest? We'll never know, but he's an awesome player with that weapon, and I look to see him do big things here in this Fringe hardpoint, holding it down on that mid-long line of sight, or in train when we get over to that hill in the rotation.
Yeah, it certainly always is like an argument for the ages, you know, like who the best AR is, who the best SMG, and now with Black Ops 3, the arguments can kind of go threefold. Who's the best with the Man of War, the HVK, all different sorts of things. Who's the best with each individual specialist? And again, it is interesting to me that Attach and Enable have made the switch, because historically Enable, that has been the only thing he's run in every single game mode, and you got to keep in mind, Attach, when he's using Heat Wave, that is of course going to be breaking the hills. He's going to be using that consistently flying in, because you don't have to worry about checking your corners when Heat Wave does all of that work for you. But again, the most important hard point on this map is going to be top grandmas, and the Heat Wave, as you know, can pretty much encapsulate the entire room.
Yeah, and your point about Attach running that Heat Wave, he's more of a frontline kind of player anyway, right? He's not going to be the one pre-aiming behind his teammates, which Enable, as the secondary AR, is going to do way more frequently than Attach is. Of course, Enable does have his moments of pulling out the sub. That's something he's always been doing since he was on this team, with lots of weapon roles, switching and everything like that across all of the Call of Duty World League. Certainly expect to see Enable running both of those situations, but I think that even though he's been running it longer than Attach, it makes sense for them to switch here for their weapon comp and for their team composition. So guys, we're loading into it. Fringe hardpoint, give me your predictions. Tweet them out with the hashtag MLG Orlando. Chance, what are your predictions for this map here?
I was going to say, it's going to be nearly impossible to predict, right? Because both these teams, we've seen them lose hard points, win them. I think, you know, Team EnVyUs, they actually lost to C9, and they were able to come back and make the reverse sweep. We've seen reverse sweep on reverse sweep so far in this tournament. It has been insane storylines going on. But again, these teams are both already qualified for top 4. It's going to be anybody's guess at this point who's going to go on forward. If I'm forced to choose, I'm definitely going to pick Team EnVyUs, because FaZe, historically so, at least in Black Ops 3, have never really lived up to their full potential. So this is where they need to prove themselves, because again, we know COD XP is coming up soon. It's not about how you start, it's all about how you finish.
I got to give the upper hand to EnVyUs. They are such a dominant hardpoint team, with Slasher and Apathy and John being so aggressive in your face, and all of just the multi-kill and score streak potential from those players. They have the advantage here. So Apathy in position with an AR for the opening push. He spots Enable and Dub. Slash is going to take him out first, and Attach on the flank is able to do some damage.
It does seem for the moment that both teams are are a little bit scared to step inside that hard point. It looks like FaZe finally getting a body in the hill. That's going to be Zuma, and you see, 30 seconds into the game, there's only 8 total seconds on the board. It is a very contest-heavy hill, and you really are dependent on your ARs to get the coverage over top from either top Grandmas or top Barn before the SMGs are even going to bother to attempt to go outside of cover into the hill.
Apathy read that flank, but didn't wait long enough, and Attach is going to execute it again, achieving his team some spawns, it would seem, but none of them are dying, and it looks like EnVyUs is just wrapping right back over to it, and John is shut down. Apathy still in the hard point, though. He's going to leave that lots of the time going to FaZe Clan. However, with all the trading going back and forth, and John currently being at 0-4, EnVyUs is only going to get 2 seconds. Now, moving into the next rotation, Attach 5-1, taking point in the hill alongside Clayster. 3 players coming in from the alleyway. Challenges one, challenge the second, gets them all tagged up. The team effort in from FaZe Clan is just not enough, though. Lots of contestation going down, and EnVyUs gets the best of the situation.
Well, the trades right there were virtually even, but that is the benefit of having the good spawns, which EnVyUs was able to lock down, that they're going to be the team that gets back to the hill quicker. Of course, Zuma, though, was able to pick up 2 inside of the hard point, and then once you slay out your opponent, the spawns at that point do not matter, and EnVyUs actually going to get the split spawn. You see 2 players spawning over by 10, now 2 more spawning over by Globe, and the other 2 are coming from the alley, so that's going to work out perfectly for them, pretty much just by pure chance. Either way, though, FaZe are already beginning to rotate. You see that player Enable working his way through trains. Very important gunfights. Again, the most important hill on this map is going to be top Grandma.
Slasher in your power position. He's holding down Peaches. He's going to have to cut off several AR players coming from Shed and Train. It looks like Clayster is going to be the nearest one to do it. Gets tagged up, taken down. Slasher still maintaining those spawns on a 3-kill streak, and this is why I mentioned EnVyUs is so dangerous in this game mode. The streaks that they can go on, all the kills they can hold to maintain those hills, maintain the spawns for those hills, but those players coming up on Shed might be a problem for our hill players here soon.
Well, FaZe was able to pick up 2 kills, but you see JCap's going to be able to respond, and that's actually going to be a clean 4 down, and you can see exactly how far away FaZe Clan is going to be spawning from this hard point. So you see, it's going to be 15 seconds for them to run down trains, then they have to deal with gunfights, then they have to get inside the hill. This is looking to be like a full 60 seconds for Team EnVyUs, minus about 2 seconds of contestation time, doing a fantastic job, and they have taken the largest lead they've had in the game.
Attach finally able to come through within the last 30 seconds of the hill. He's going to have a gunfight here soon to his right. That's Apathy, catches him right in his back. JCap also finding a kill. 2 FaZe players pushing up mid-map. Apathy finds an M8, and he's able to re-engage, finds 1 kill, tags up Zuma, but he's hiding in the corner, going to regen, and still is able to find a burst onto John and come back up to answer to Apathy. FaZe looks like they're in a pretty decent situation to continue fighting for the rotation towards Train. Catches Apathy off spawn again, punishing him twice, making him spawn way far out to Junkyard. And it's looking really good for FaZe right now.
Zuma shooting nukes out of that pistol. He got the 1 burst on a player that was invisible, virtually hit firing as well. He's going to be able to take down Slasher. So Slasher, one of the most dominant ARs in the game. Well, he just got gunned by Zuma. Typically an SMG player. Obviously, he is going to be able to go back and forth very well. JCap, though, able to pick up 2 inside the hills. Slasher's going to get the pinch as well, and that is, again, a clean 4 down from Team EnVyUs. And again, FaZe is working with the worst spawns. That means they're going to have to do all the extra work to outslay their opponent before they can even begin to think about getting that hardpoint control.
Typically on Fringe hardpoint, I think that FaZe has a very hard time pushing this hill when they don't have the spawn, so I don't see them getting too much time on this hardpoint unless there's a huge play from one of the sub players. JCap, though, making it way easier, team killing twice. John is now left alone to face 2 different FaZe players, still able to turn around and find Zuma on the flank, pop the heat wave, connect with the second, and he turned that horrible situation right around as he engaged Attach for the 3rd kill.
Yeah, fantastic job. So the setup that just happened right there, JCap bounced a nade off of a teammate that was 1 shot. So that player died to that like 1 point of damage. That's how weak he was. And then, of course, that is not where the nade was intended to go. It falls, kills another teammate. But again, as you pointed out, fantastic job by John. He was the last player in the hill. He was dealing with 3 opponents, and he was able to contest the remainder of that time. Either way, though, after the first set of rotations, EnVyUs, mainly because of that Grand Moss hill, does have a slight lead, about 30 seconds. Still, though, in control of the hardpoint.
John jiggle peeking the truck is going to waste so much time, not allowing Zuma to attach the challenge. He had to wait for Zuma to come through with an inmate and take him down at an easier range. Apathy and Slasher responding with kills, but Clay coming off the spawn is trying to get in a position, catches Apathy on the flank, tags him up, gets the assist. 3 kills going in favor of EnVyUs, though, as John takes time in the hill again, and he's so dangerous in this situation. Anyone gets close to him, they're probably not going to take it. They're going to have to take him out from a distance. Rotation coming in. Scrap time looks like it's going to go in favor of out EnVyUs, but no, John falls, and now he spawns out.
Well, the important player right here is going to be Enable, because you can already see players for Team EnVyUs wrapping all the way around the back of the map, trying to go behind Barn to lock down the good spawns for this jump kill. Yeah, they're definitely trying to single Enable out to lock that down, but, well, John's going to trust his teammates, so he is going to fall, but either way, you see Envy spawning at the bottom left-hand corner of the map. That is going to work out for them, but while all this is going down, FaZe was getting the time in the hill, and that's actually going to be a clean forward down. JCap is going to fall after popping the camo, so FaZe, again, in control, but they got their work cut out for them. Naval popping the kinetic armor. He's able to pick up 3. We questioned the decision, but it worked out beautifully there.
Yeah, make perfect sense to use it right there. Able to hold down those spawns even longer for Attach to sit in the hill. Excellent play out of Enable so far with the AR, but now the rotation's coming in. There is one player trying to upset those spawns. That's Clayster in the silo power position, playing back as an anchor, trying to make everyone on EnVyUs spawn out. Spots John in the corner. What was he doing there? Not sure why he didn't come back to challenge Clayster here, but that's okay. JCap's coming through to take him out. Now, 3 kills go in favor of EnVyUs. FaZe is spawning way far out on the opposite side of Junk. They have to push through mid again. We saw how long it took them to do it last time. Do they struggle again this way? Smoke's coming in to block JCap's line of sight.
Well, Slasher just pulled out the Tempest as well, so got to look out for that. He's going to be dealing with the players coming through train tracks, and you can see how much pressure is being put on that side. John, though, is actually going to be able to pick up 2 after he gets the 3rd and the 4th. So, again, a clean forward down. We explain how long it takes to rotate around if you're FaZe Clan, because, again, you have to push all the way through trains. Pushing in through tin is a death trap. Mid-map is incredibly wide open, but if you're going through tracks, it just takes so long to get there. So this is 30 seconds of uncontested time, and that was when it was a close game going into the hard point. You see the heat wave gets used by Attach, but there's too much hill pressure coming out of Team EnVyUs.
I feel like if EnVyUs wins the rotation to this next hard point, they're going to make an even bigger, just huge deficit. They're going to get lots and lots of time as FaZe struggles to break train. We got to get there first, though. 10 seconds left. Who's going to get the scrap time? Attach fighting forward, falls instantly to JCap's Elcar 9. Now, JCap also, by the way, 27 and 17 up until that death there, definitely contributing a ton to the team when he's in the hard point. Clayster's Tempest coming out, though. This should make things a little bit easier for him. If he can attack Apathy, then that dead body becomes a difficult chain, but it's shut down. 3 players from EnVyUs in the hill. They're flooding it. Another JCap team kill on this hard point, but Apathy coming off the spawn is able to spawn close anyway. Now FaZe is on their back foot once again on Train Hill.
Yeah, and you see EnVyUs right now in complete control. Clayster's going to fall as well, and you see the split spawn actually coming in. Players spawning for FaZe all the way in back alley. They're sending players on each side, but 2 of them are in the alley as we speak, so they need to make sure they coordinate and hit this together. But of course, EnVyUs is going to be watching every possible cut that they need to. There's only 3 points of entry, and they have all covered with 4 separate players. And you see 2 kills going down in their favor, and that's actually going to be the clean 4 down. John goes on a 3 streak to make that happen. EnVyUs is blowing this game wide open.
FaZe cannot break this hill. EnVyUs is holding on for dear life, and they're not letting go. Enable trying to find an opportunity to get some scrap time here, but I think he's just going to give it up and try and catch players on the rotation. He's going to have an AR player and an Apathy to deal with, though. Let's see if he can win it. Catches JCap off guard, tosses the EMP to spot check, but the trophy's going to block that one. Let's take a look at Attach, who's taking point in the hill.
And I really do want to go back and highlight exactly what EnVy was doing on that push, or on that pass still, excuse me, because we saw they had the spawns for grandmas. That one's easy to hold down. If you have a player in the top right-hand corner of the map, in the far back end of the map, you're going to spawn there pretty much no matter what, as long as you keep the pressure out of your base. But for trains, it's much harder to force your enemies spawn out. You have to push out both sides, both Peaches and Barn, and that forces the spawn back alley. It is very tough to do unless you get the full setup right away, but Envy made it happen, and it reflects in the score. Of course, though, FaZe still in this game. They have plenty of time to work with because, again, Black Ops 3, the clock only goes down when nobody is in the hill, so FaZe just needs to apply that hill pressure.
Clayster still in a power position, very difficult to take off here. Bobbing and weaving in and out of the pieces of that truck is going to work in his favor. Now the rotation's coming in. FaZe did win this one last time thanks to Enable, but the heat wave comes through. Clayster falls. Zuma taking point in the hill, finds 2 kills, trying to get the 3rd on alleyway, and he gets it. Still has access to the active camo, so expect to see him stay alive for a bit longer here. Grenades coming in, delaying that EnVyUs push. Slasher taking point. Oh, and puts his gun down just as Zuma starts firing. He's still alive. Finally goes down, but Enable responds to the 2-piece.
Well, you know what? This is the exact same scenario we have had on this hill the first 2 times, where Envy does have the good spawn, but then FaZe just completely turns up tough in the slaying department. Zuma had to go off right there to make it happen. He picked up 3, then 2 his second time. So he is doing a lot of damage. You see, EnVyUs is able to break through. But the problem for FaZe was the rotation from Junk over towards Grandma's in both times. That is where EnVyUs has completely taken over. You can see about a 60-point differential between these two teams. FaZe needs to lock down Grandma's or they will not be able to get back into this game.
Yeah, and a lot of that differential was mounted up towards the Grandma and Train Hill, but Clayster here taking the initiative to get in the hard point, and now it's finally EnVyUs that has to fight from middle map. However, they're 20 seconds away from winning this, and Slasher opened up with a 2-piece. If they can get through and disrupt the spawns, looks like they can't do it. They didn't influence it enough. Then they could have a great situation on their hands. Slasher and John playing aggressively to get in the hard point. And it looks like FaZe is still spawning in the hill and Envy spawning out. They need to get an AR player back there. They're not applying enough pressure to influence those spawns.
Well, 2 players inside the base for FaZe right now doing a very good job to lock down this hard point. You see Zoom is going to be the player with the AR trying to lock down mid-map. He's going to spot Slasher as well, expecting him probably to push in the back, but he has the front pre-aim. 2 players for Envy right now pushing him through tin. One is going to be able to slip through the cracks, but again, FaZe has done a fantastic job. They were down by 60 going into this hill. They've cut it down to 40, and they got 20 seconds left. Looking good so far. Attach is able to pick up 2. The heat wave gets popped. Glacier has pulled out the Tempest as well, and that is a clean 4 down. They're going to get the 11 seconds of scrap. 20-point differential going into this Train Hill. Can FaZe fix their mistakes from the previous rotation?
Now remember, in the last Junk Hill, we saw Zuma burn the camo just before he died. They won't have that kind of utility going into this hill. No one from FaZe except Clayster will have the Tempest out. He wins the battle, though. That's got to be huge for FaZe. JCap just around the corner, trying to buy himself some time and wait for his team to show up. And he buys just enough time, but it doesn't matter. Clay hits the hip fire. Slasher's able to shut him down, but at the cost of one of his teammates. Attach responds. And EnVyUs is now in a similar situation as FaZe. They have to split push. They have to try and attack from multiple angles, but it looks like they're going individually up until this point. Apathy's finally on the hill to try and help him out. Enable waiting for it. Kinetic armor's popped. Can he make something of it? He has so many engagements he has to look for, and he's only able to find one. FaZe is holding this hard point very well and could very well close out the map here, Chance.
Yeah, EnVyUs isn't going to be able to get any more time on this hill. Well, actually, they just picked up 3, but they're going to be able to contest. Zuma, though, actually goes flying up. He doesn't want to go for the contest. He was trying to pick up the kills. So FaZe Clan is going to be 6 points away from ending the game. Envy is now 10 seconds. FaZe has to contest this hill for at least another second to force it into the next hill. You see Envy able to pick up 3. The last player alive is Placer. He gets inside for a moment. That is not going to be enough. John able to pick up the kill. FaZe did not have the pressure in the end. Envy able to close it down again on that Train Hill.
That came down to EnVyUs just holding Train Hill so well so many times. It really only took up until the last rotation for FaZe to get their things together and mount up enough time. But EnVyUs just playing so much better off of those spawns. They were able to come through and wipe all of FaZe in unison, get a bit of time, stop Clayster from contesting for the little bit of time it would have taken them to have to get to the next rotation and win on mid-hill. EnVyUs overall just got the most out of their situations.
I mean, 250 to 244, there's not much more you could ask for. That is good performances all the way across the board. The only player who really had a big change in the, the kill-death department, John was a little bit negative, but we saw some of the defensive plays he was making inside the hill, picking up time for his team. But then JCap, most time in the entire hill, most kills on his team. Granted, he didn't lead the lobby, but he was doing it all. And some of the kills he was getting were incredibly important as well.
Yeah.
We saw the second time around, Clayster was sitting at the back of the map. He picked up the kill on John over by Trains when they're trying to lock down. Grandma's even pointed out, you're like, I expected John to be going for the trade. It looked like a dire situation for EnVyUs, but then JCap comes flying in through 10, picks up the kill, gets the spawns for Envy, and again, that is when they got their biggest lead of the entire game. Obviously, though, FaZe did make it interesting towards the end, but at the end of the day, Envy up 1-0. That's all that matters.
Right, and we're going to give these players some time to switch over their classes to Search and Destroy here, talk a little bit about our predictions for this matchup here. I think that so earlier I had Revan told me that FaZe LG, if it went to Game 5, was going to be Evac Search and Destroy. We're now seeing that as Game 2 in this series. It's loaded up in the lobby for us.
Sure.
I think that FaZe, I do see them being a stronger Evac S&D team. I think that the flanks coming through from Zuma will be huge and very beneficial for them, especially with the wall runs around the map. He's a player that manages that very well. At the same time, though, I think that Slasher is a player that's very good at watching it. So we'll have to see if he can bring that to the table. He's someone that always catches those wall runs and plays off of the communication of his team. So they do have something to answer to that. We'll just have to see who does it better.
Well, something that's interesting about FaZe's Search and Destroy game, if you recall back to Advanced Warfare, Zuma was an absolute monster. He had this huge reputation of just getting first bloods, going on the flanks, being an incredible nuisance for the other team to deal with. But so far in Black Ops 3, while he's done a decent job, he's still a very good Search and Destroy player, but he has not been up to that same standard. But against Luminosity on main stage earlier today, I think he dropped like 13 kills on Stronghold, and he was back to old form. He was flying around the map, just sprinting towards the enemy, and he was winning his gunfights. He was flanking constantly, and it caused Luminosity all sorts of problems. So they just kind of let Zuma fly. If he is just let loose, if he can perform like he did against LG, FaZe definitely has a good standing to be able to tie this series up 1-1.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Zuma definitely has those explosive moments where he has such high first blood potential. I think that FaZe as a whole really feeds off of that. They rely on that very heavily. Someone getting a first blood within the first 15 seconds of the round, but as it goes on longer, I think that it kind of tilts more in the favor of Team EnVyUs. So we'll see how it goes. Bans and Protects coming through again. The Vesper, the first thing to go out. We did see FaZe Clan try and use that towards the end of their Luminosity series. HCXD, another popular ban in Search and Destroy, and of course the staple Overkill ban. Afterburner is going to be gone, so those around the map flanks are going to be less effective, or well, not less effective, but a little bit more difficult to execute, you could say. Overclock also going to slow down just how often those specialist abilities will come up.
Yeah, and another big question for Search and Destroy is going to be the snipers, right, as well. Like, Overkill gets banned. That's pretty much a staple in this game mode at this point. I think it actually slipped through the cracks against LG for Game 5, and we saw a couple guys rocking the PO6. But either way, I don't think either of these teams necessarily wants to target the snipers at all. I don't know if they want to ban the Thermal, the SMG, or excuse me, the SVG, or anything like that, because John likes to use it all the time, and Attach is not going to shy away from a sniper battle either. Obviously, on Evac, Search and Destroy, it's a little bit trickier. It's not exactly long lines of sight. There's a couple spots where you can use it effectively, but for the most part, I don't think it's going to be pulled out for a long duration of time.
Something we have seen some teams like H2K's done this before in this map, where they'll run over towards bar and they'll just have a sniper try and wallbang down that alleyway towards the pillar and catch someone pre-aiming the site, pre-aiming that just great choke point, just an awesome vantage point. You're always going to see an AR player sitting around there. I don't know if we see that strategy from either of these sides. I haven't seen EnVy or FaZe execute something like that, but it's certainly a possibility and definitely a good play that could be made. A lot of the AR presence is going to be made on the opposite bomb site near green. That's going to be A. So we'll have to see how everything goes down there. But looking at the specialist draft here, again, Team EnVyUs, they've been opting not to run, or excuse me, FaZe Clan, they're opting to have Attach run the Heat Wave once again. And then Enable is going to be running that Psychosis. We have Glitch and Active Camo, two of the best abilities for Search and Destroyers, Camo and Heatwave, which is why you're almost always going to see it in every game mode.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If you're not using Heatwave and Active Camo, you're absolutely crazy. They can, by themselves, pretty much decide entire matches at certain points, and that's just an individual specialist that can have that big of an impact on the game. But I got to ask, Fox, you have Glitch and Psychosis for each team are the secondary selections. What about Kinetic Armor, though? Like, Kinetic Armor, I feel like, is very close to being like the Heatwave, very close to being like the Active Camo, and that when you pop it, you're basically guaranteed to get that kill, bar you choking shots, getting completely destroyed, something like that. Like, it is a lifesaver in situations, and not a lifesaver like Glitch, where it gets you out of dodge and sets you up for a fair gunfight. I'm talking about where you are completely overpowering your enemy because you can take twice as many bullets. So why do you think we're not actually seeing that? Why do you think Psychosis and Glitch are being picked over Kinetic?
I think that towards the end we might have seen Kinetic get banned out here. But
that would be an incredibly good reason to not see Kinetic, honestly. Yeah, that would answer that question wholeheartedly.
I think that that's a pretty solid reason for it not to be picked in the special draft. But to still answer your question, because we still have seen teams pick the likes of Glitch and Overdrive over Kinetic Armor throughout this tournament. Kinetic Armor, I feel, is one of just these, you have to use it, right? You have to have somebody use it. Optic Gaming relies heavily on Scump's ability to pop that Kinetic Armor because it's one of those things that if you're going to win 80% of your gunfights, Kinetic Armor will help you win an extra 10 or 15% so. And these are fictional statistics and fictional numbers here, but the analogy is that it makes nearly impossible gunfights and difficult odds more heavily in your favor because of the extra health and the fact that you're forcing the opponent to have to aim for your head if they want to kill you before you can take them down.
Right. Again, guys, Evac, Search and Destroy is loading up. There's one big question over each of these teams' head, and this is the final event before COD XP, so this is where we're getting our best look at these teams before the most important tournament of the year. The question for Team EnVyUs, are they actually the best team in the game? Can they actually contend with Optic Gaming? Can they beat them? Do they have the clear shot at the one spot? Obviously, it's Season 2 Finals. Well, they claimed the throne, but they didn't exactly have the most difficult road to go there, being a single elimination tournament. But now they are trying to fight their ways back through the loser's bracket. So do they have that potential? And then, of course, the question for FaZe Clan, can they return to old form? At the end of Advanced Warfare, they were dominant, other than, I think, like one hiccup of a tournament that they had, but they were looking phenomenal, and Black Ops 3 overall has been disappointing. So can they find their stride at the end of the year and, again, assert their dominance.
As you said, the question here is EnVyUs capable of playing against what looks like something people have been expecting from FaZe all throughout the Call of Duty World League. They look like they're at least coming close to their older form towards the end of Advanced Warfare. Guys, we're loading into the map, 10-second countdown. Let's flip through some of these weapons and see exactly what's going on. Looks like on the side of Team EnVyUs, 3 ARs, 1 sub. One of them is an HVK. On the side of FaZe, we're gonna have 2 subs and 2 ARs.
Well, Team EnVyUs right off the bat going to be hitting that A bomb site pretty hard. They do actually have one player sitting in mid-map, but as you can see on your mini-map, there's literally no one from FaZe anywhere near A, and it looks like they are going for the 4-man flank, and they are doing so very quickly. We're going to see how long it takes EnVyUs to react. There's going to be player Apathy that catches one attach. We're going to see if he gets traded or able to play with his life, but EnVyUs at the very least is going to be somewhat aware of where these players are. John turns around as well. He's able to pick up the second, so the flank for FaZe not working out at the moment, though Clayster is able to land a nade to make the odds 3 men to 2.
All right, all of EnVyUs regrouping towards the bomb site after Apathy and John open it up with a big advantage, stopping Clayster or FaZe's retake right in its tracks. Clay, though, able to bring his team some life, and this is what I meant. Slasher always watching that lower wall run, checking for anyone that might be flanking on the side. He's the player that's always taking point with that inmate for it, and he finds the kill. That's going to be Enable. Last man standing in a 1 versus 3. He's not going to be able to do anything. Heavily outnumbered inside water. Apathy finds the final kill.
That is a bit problematic for FaZe Clan, right? Because if you were going on a full 4-man flank like that, you have to go very, very fast, because obviously you have to take your time, check your corners, make sure you don't get picked off. But as soon as Apathy gets that first blood, he's going to call something out. And if you don't get that trade right away, now the enemy team has a little bit more information than you, because you still are having to check every corners. You don't know if they're rotating around. You don't know if they went mid-map. You're not sure of what's going on the map, so you got to fly a little bit quicker, because we even saw EnVyUs. They weren't entirely sure what was going on, but they slowly caught on. So FaZe did not take full advantage of the opportunities. Either way, though, EnVyUs, because of Apathy, good round.
Looks like Clayster is the closest to the action. Attach has the sniper set up, but I don't think he's going to find too many picks unless he looks down the alleyway at John, who skips right by. JCap exposed is just enough for the first blood. 2 players go down for Team EnVyUs. John and Slasher left in a 2 versus 4. Attach slides in. HVK too much for him to handle. He's expecting a flank here from Zuma, and he finds it, catches him. John playing so intelligently right now to stay alive and even up the odds for EnVyUs.
Yeah, props to Slasher on that as well. He was actually able to spot that player coming on the flank, and he was calling out to John, hey man, turn around, turn around. So you saw John was pre-firing the front door expecting the trade, but then he figured out where the player was coming forward. Now trades are going down. Clayster gets a pick. Slasher able to trade him out. It is going to be a 1 versus 1 when all is said and done. Enable, who does have the bomb going against Slasher. See, Slasher has just backed all the way up, and Enable, well, he's got 27 seconds to get that bomb down.
Yeah, Enable here needs to get something going here soon. He does not have dead silence, so if he gets too close to Slasher, they might clash, and there'll be a problem there. Slasher, though, 2-0, currently the best of the 2 players remaining. And it looks like he's chosen the A-bomb side. Slasher creeping up on him. Let's see the plant progress. Doesn't matter. Enable shuts it, or Enable gets shut down. Slasher finds the final kill. EnVyUs up 2-0 against FaZe Clan.
And that's another situation where FaZe is just playing a little bit too slow and Enable in that specific situation. Because you know, as soon as Slasher picks up that kill, he's vaguely aware of Enable is, I'm certain of it, but Clayster was one that got that pick. So Enable has the information of where Slasher is. He was scared of the gunfight, backed up a little bit, and Slasher just got all the way out of there. And then he made sure to do the correct thing on defense, going back and forth and check the bomb sites. He correctly predicted the rotation. Easy kill for him. Puts EnVyUs up 2-0.
Yeah, disrupting that communication, trying to leave him more of a question mark as to where he's at on the map. Great play out of Slasher. Now it's going to be Apathy actually pushing. I thought he was going to peek for Slasher first, but no, Attach is still able to find the kill on John before backing down and not getting traded by Apathy. There's a trophy system down there, so you're not going to see Apathy's nade unless he knows it can just blow up after that and then let someone else follow up with it. I think he's going to save that frag. But there are several players around the corner. This is scary if you're Apathy.
Well, first blood's going the way of FaZe, but Envy was able to clutch up last time. Attach was able to spot that player up top, so he's going to have that information. But you can already see FaZe has completely stacked this B bomb site as well as EnVyUs. So as long as the trades come in, FaZe is going to be in great shape. You can see the pick. Enable's there for the help. Slasher's going to be 1v4. They're going to fly to him, and he is going to die very, very quickly. And that is much more efficient trading right there from FaZe. You saw Attach. As soon as he gets the first blood, his teammates immediately come to his rescue and challenge the only other place that Envy is going to be able to pop their heads from. So again, perfect round coming out of FaZe. They get the first blood, and they convert beautifully.
And we got to highlight the EnVyUs play right there. The idea was for Apathy to bait himself out, and the AR players that were looking down the alleyway towards the pillar were supposed to catch the player that started firing at him, but they couldn't do it. And FaZe, like you said, just collapsed right on him. Efficient trading, and they end the round with, what, no players falling?
Correct.
Yeah, so here we are, guys, heading into round 4. Score 2-1. We have a mid-map push coming from 3 of the 4 players from FaZe. Looks like they're not going to see any action, but once EnVyUs starts to rotate, there could be a little bit of danger here. Closest one is going to be JCap. Catches attached with a few shots. The flashbang comes in. Tac mask is pinged, but he's going to toss the frag anyway. Not going to connect, just shy of the corner. Still catches attached, running away. And now it's a 4v3. Zuma's getting closer. JCap's in a good spot, not tagged up at all, has some damage. The movement from Zuma, though, keeps him alive. This is why he's so dangerous when he's aggressive, but he finds the kill on the Enable anyway, and now Zuma's trapped.
Well, right now, JCap and Slasher have it completely pinned down. Zuma was there for the kill on JCap for the trade, but he is going to get taken down. So Clayster's in a 1v3. Right now, he's got Slasher right in front of him. The AR battle, well, the Shiva, the fire rate is a little bit too slow. It's a beautiful thing to have at long ranges, but the M8 a little bit more dominant up close. But again, that play we saw there from EnVyUs, they completely hit the A bomb site. As soon as they realized something was going on, the players rotated back. Once they realized FaZe was all inside again, JCap was able to keep them contained in there. They completely collapsed on the middle of the map, and then Clayster, he was the one that was way off in his base watching the flank, so he was the last one alive, but a difficult situation for him to be in. But either way, EnVyUs making some solid plays right now, up 3-1.
Yep, great mechanical kill right there from Slasher, reload canceling to take out Clayster before the Shiva could even make a difference. I think that's a sniper in the hands of Clay. Looking over towards the A-bomb side, he is the secondary sniper for this team. We've seen them pull up multiple snipers all at once before in the past, I think on Infection, but Clay here trying to hold this tight where his team gets picked up by Slasher on the lower wall run. And now, EnVyUs looking like they're going to be in a great position to plan here, but Enable catches Slasher in his typical post-plant position. Bomb's not even able to go down yet, but Enable's ready for it. Psychosis is popped, not fooling anyone. EnVyUs is going to wrap back.
Well, the Psychosis is actually going to help force them all the way out because they know it's going to be a little bit more chaotic, not knowing which bot is going to be enabled. Either way, though, it looks like FaZe is going to be very late to this rotation. Not sure if EnVyUs is going to go for the plant right away. JCap is hanging out next to bomb. That is going to be the case. One player, though, Zuma, is coming up very, very quickly, way apart from his teammates. He's going to be inside, though he is going to get spotted, so no damage done quite yet. True 3 versus 3 situation. Enable going on the flank. Zuma in attach, working from the front.
Those clones there had red arrows. Attached coming around the corner, trying to spot who it was that activated that Psychosis. He's going to find out Apathy's just around the corner there waiting for him. Still wins the gunfight. Great shots from Attached. Finds another one up top.
Wow.
Double gunning JCap and Apathy. John left in a 1 versus 3, hiding in the corner, waiting for it, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. Glitches backwards, but Attached was not close enough for it to be effective. And there's the defuse. Attached with a great round, finding 3 kills for his team.
You know, that is a pretty bold play with the use of the glitch right there, because obviously in a 1v3 situation, 99% of the time you're not going to be able to clutch up. So it was bold to go for it. And a lot of the times we always say, hey, in a situation like that, don't bother using it. But I'm actually perfectly okay with that. He gave himself a chance to clutch up, and he's going to be able to get his glitch again. That was only round 5. So if this game goes the distance, he's going to have a second opportunity for it. And that is the beauty of having the abilities. You can earn them very, very quickly. So either way, FaZe Clan, again, they were able to work themselves together, pinching out the bomb site perfectly. But EnVyUs still with the slight lead, 3-2.
We're also very early in the game, so he's going to get a second one. I think that John, with his clutch factor and search initiative, is certainly a decent play to go for. Might seem really risky, but that's just to a general pro player that might not go for it. John is incredible in this game mode here, but we're looking at a push from FaZe Clan onto the A bomb site. Not heavily contested at all by EnVyUs, as they're all on the other side of the map, and they're choosing to rotate from 2 different endpoints of the map. So you're going to see a pinch here coming in soon, but they have to execute it at the same time.
Well, right now, FaZe is just trying to gather some information. They're not trying to go for the quick plan at all. JCap has fired his gun, so they know something's up. And you see Enable's actually going to be planting on that side. So they definitely have some sort of awareness that players on the flank, and it looks like Clayster's actually trying to get all the way around him on that bottom wall run. Meanwhile, John is doing an army crawl, but just like that, 3 players make it 4, fall instantly. Called out Clayster being on the flank. You see him get the first pick. Well, he gets the second as well, and we're going to have a second look at that. Both players with their backs turned. EnVyUs had no idea what Clayster was doing.
Oh, the flank finds him a 2-piece. Awesome shots from Clayster for sure. You saw a little bit going down on the site where Zuma got the better of that EnVyUs player just by outweighting him. The patience paid off, and all 4 players from FaZe are able to wipe out EnVyUs, and plenty of them are close to their specialist abilities. We see 2 active, 1 just on the way. That's going to be active camo. JCap, though, on the offense, designated bomb carrier, moving towards the A bomb site, giving his position away. Attach is just going to back right off after getting that information.
Well, with 2 players firing their guns, you can see that Zuma rotated back towards mid-map and Enable wrapped all the way back to try and help out Attach near this bomb site. So Attach now on the inside is able to spot 1 player. He's going to get picked off very quick though, getting challenged by 2 players, and that is not good looks because now FaZe not going to be there for the trade because then they're playing very passively back towards their base with the exception of Zuma in mid-map. They are working from the man disadvantage. Clayster though going to be able to even the odds, and now Clayster's actually going to get out of dodge with that glitch. He's out of trouble in Enable, able to get the trade with the glitch bait and switch.
Yeah, the glitch keeping Clayster alive after finding his first kill. Excellent play out of him. 2 versus 2 though. Slasher still going to find him. Him and JCap heavily separated here. And the bomb carrier, that's not exactly what you want, because if he gets picked off here, no one, luckily for him, FaZe is close enough. Slasher would have a problem going over to get that bomb. And now, just on top of each other, Slasher has access to the camo. We don't see too much utility on the side of FaZe, but Enable is seconds away from Psychosis, which could be huge for getting that corner around bar.
Well, going to see if Enable elects to use that. Both players for FaZe going to be pushing in the front. You can see EnVyUs Slasher is going to be the man responsible for the flank, but now the Psychosis is going to get popped. You see JCap gave away his position. Zuma is able to get that kill, so that is going to be Slasher in the 1 versus 2, and they know exactly where he is. Has 2 players raining down. I think both of them had ARs. Let me take that back. Zuma definitely had the VMP in his hand. Either way, though, Enable with the nice shots, and he is working himself towards the streaks. He has himself a dart, and they are getting closer to the Specialist as well.
That's a 4 streak for Enable, 2 for Zuma. Specialist coming in. That dart's going to be big on this map if they want to play outside, or if they want to go play towards the bomb site, send a dart over to A and catch players off guard. That's going to be big for any sort of offensive push coming from EnVyUs on that site, which we've seen twice now, and Slasher is a big part in their success with it. Actually a big score streak for them to use. And yeah, here it is again. Just in slow motion, a bit of an unfortunate 1v2 in Slasher's situation.
Well, and that dart is going to be a very powerful tool as well, because you have 1 bomb site that is completely exposed out in the open, and then the B bomb site is inside. So now if you're Envy, if you're on offense, you don't have too much of a choice. You pretty much have to go to B for fear of that dart disrupting your plays. Of course, though, they might use it on offensive well. If they get the bomb down on the A bomb site, Enable is going to be able to perfectly cover that from the sky. But of course, you see a lot of these players have been sticking with the EMPs to prevent something like that. Clayster, though, with that sniper rifle again, last time he used it, he was able to pick up 2. Abdi, though, is going to have, well, the VMP, and that's what you want in that situation. First blood by way of Team EnVyUs. Slasher picks up the 2nd as well.
Slasher, though, getting traded out by Attach, trying to make the best of the situation. They're still playing a man down. It's going to be 3 versus 2, and John's in position with the sniper to cover this site, but the rotation's coming in. There is still a flank, and that's going to be Attach that does it, but he tags him up and runs away. He has access to the heat wave, so if anyone gets close to him, Attach should get the best of that situation. Enable, though, is just going to wrap right over as Attach serves as a distraction and get the plant down. He finds a kill, and he's staying alive. He popped the heat wave, though, and the nade comes in for the trade. 2 versus 1 retake. Can EnVyUs finish out the round? Well,
actually, now the question is, what is Enable going to do in this situation? Because he has the bomb down, but he also has a couple streaks at his disposal. I believe he has the Hellstorm and the dart. Not sure if he's going to call it in. He's actually fully streaked out. Yeah, the bomb is in a position where he is going to be able to see. He's going to get a heat wave, but he is going to get traded out as well. Once he picked up the kill, I thought things were going to be interesting, but Enable to get shut down a little bit too late. He is going to be, again, completely streaked out, and that is going to be FaZe. Now tying it up at 4-4. Envy, excuse me, tying it up 4-4.
Envy got that round win there, but I think that Attach and Enable played that so well. Attach serving as a distraction, let Enable go over to the other site, get the bomb down, and get fully streaked out. It's going to be huge for the next few rounds. As you can see, it's tied up 4-4. This has been nothing but back and forth the entire time.
Well, now we're going to have to find out again what EnVyUs is going to do on offense. In my opinion, they're pretty much forced to go to B. Again, that A bomb site completely exposed. They got to deal with the Hellstorm. They got to deal with the lighting and the dart. So their options are not good. And again, FaZe Clan right now is reacting to this perfectly. They know exactly what EnVyUs is going to be required to do. 4-man stacking this bomb site. Envy has their work cut out for them. And it looks like you see Clayster at the very bottom of the map going for that sneaky wall run. Zuma is actually going to follow him up as well. Keep in mind, guys, there is no afterburner. And it looks like Zuma actually going to get picked off by Slasher. Very aware.
No afterburner. Clayster also does not have blast suppressor, so you will hear his burst. The flashbang stopping Attach's sniper, and Enable still going to find a kill with
Hellstorm.
Look, yeah, oh, there we go. I think it was a score streak for sure. Enable, though, alive around pillar. He still has access to his lightning strike and his dart, so it was certainly the Hellstorm. Clayster finds a kill with the Shiva. First kill we've seen from him on it with this map. 1 versus 3. It's up to Apathy.
Apathy has his work cut out for him. He's currently sitting at 5 and 6, and there's a lot that he is going to have to figure out at the moment. Right now for FaZe, no one even really electing to try and pick up the bomb. 3 players are just surrounding there waiting for Apathy to give away his position. Of course, though, 30 seconds left. It's actually Apathy. My bad. I'm an idiot. He's the one that's on offense, by the way, guys. Don't let me confuse you too much. Either way, though, FaZe is completely set up for it. Apathy is going to be able to pick up one. The trade is going to come in very quickly, but I like the plays on both sides. Again, when Enable's fully streaked out, EnVyUs is going to be forced to attack that B bomb site. The streak's actually come into effect as well, but with no afterburner as well. Earlier on, we saw Clayster hits the wall run, and he was able to come up on the flank, but now Slasher was aware that that is something that FaZe was trying to do, and he gets that first blood. Either way, though, in the end, FaZe clean up 5-4.
It's crunch time now for Team EnVyUs if they want to close out this map and lead the series 2-0. But FaZe Clan, they've been looking good so far, and Enable still has access to streaks and his specialist ability. Zuma also has access to camo, and that's dangerous for his first blood potential. We'll have to see how EnVyUs can respond. Well,
FaZe's entire game plan right now is get that bomb down on A and use all of your streaks. Zoom is actually leading the charge with the active camo. He is going to get traded out, but not before he gets the first pick, and that is a huge use of the specialist right now. Clayster's going to get picked off wall running as well. Slasher is not distracted at the psychosis. The streak's getting called in. That's going to force the EnVyUs players to move. Attach is able to get the next pick. That's going to be a 2v2. Attach and Enable going against Apathy and JCap, and again, if this bomb goes down, Enable has that dart.
All right, bomb goes down. Enable has streaks. You can see he's going to back up real far. He could pop the dart, waste some time. We'll have to see if he elects to use it. He could close out the game here if he does. And there it is. He's going to pop it right in. We'll have to see how JCap and Apathy respond to the dart in the sky. No one looking up just yet. Maybe they're just trying to get inside and stay away from it. Do they have flak? Flak jacket on the side of Apathy. Flak jacket on the side of JCap. Let's see if he's just maybe playing for vision for attach here. Oh, yep, there it is. The flak jacket, though, saving him. Apathy sticking to the fuse. He's a half a second away from getting it. He catches it. We're tied up 5-5 going into round 11.
Guys, what you just saw there was a both decent idea by FaZe that completely fell apart in the end. Enable is all the way in the back of the map. He flies the dart over the bomb site, and you saw him start to fly it up in the air. As soon as that happened, JCap got straight on the bomber. Excuse me, his teammate did. There's one person left alive for FaZe that can get that kill, and he does not get it quite in time. So EnVyUs played that as beautifully as you possibly could. They dealt with the dart in the sky, and we are going to round 11. Now EnVyUs has the freedom to go wherever they want on offense, and they are choosing to go to A. FaZe, though, has the 3-man stack this mid-map, and Zuma again with the first blood. That is what he needs to do. That's his responsibility. Yes, Apathy did trade him out, but all the information has Slasher with the camo pushing as well. Not able to get a kill. Classer, though, is going to be in a gunfight against Clayster. Can Clayster recognize he's going to be able to get the kill with that Shiva? 2 versus 3. Apathy and JCap, the hopes are on you.
The chase and the bait. Slasher gets shut down. JCap is trying to make the best of the situation before anyone can get away, but it looks like they're not giving anything for free here. FaZe playing so well and so intelligently. EnVyUs really needed Slasher to get that kill. They were really relying on that play.
Well, FaZe is rotated all the way over towards this B bomb site, but again, with a man disadvantage, you see how scared EnVyUs has to play that, because they don't even have to trade kills effectively. That's not an option. They have to just get all of the kills. JCap, though, is going to be planning it for the proper side as well, so this is going to be about the best possible situation Envy can be in, but again, 2v3, their work is going to be cut out for them.
JCap and Apathy have the weight of this map and their 2-0 lead on their shoulders in a 2 versus 3. Attach and Clayster playing a... Oh, catches them with both shots perfectly. Apathy can't get away. Now, JCap, historically a clutch player in this game mode, 4 plants to his name, and he's in a situation where he's post-plant. He has to survive. Catches one, tags him up, wastes time. He's going to back up and try and get his health regen, but Attach is keeping the pressure up. There it goes. The 2 versus 1 situation works out in FaZe's favor.
And that is just unfortunate timing for Slasher as well. As soon as Clayster was coming over top, he gave him the smallest window to hit his shots, and Clayster hit both with the Shiva perfectly. So props to Clayster. Perfect aim on that. And then, of course, when JCap is left in that 1v3, he has to challenge the bomb site, because someone from FaZe is going to hop right on. He popped the psychosis. He did everything right, but there's just nothing you can do in that situation. So props to FaZe making the comeback, despite the fact that they wasted a round where they had their streaks, able to clutch up in the end, and that is a very good series to tie it up at 1-1.
You know, that is an important round to talk about, right? I mean, I don't think it was as much of a waste. The idea was right. It just didn't work out. I think that JCap and Apathy set up for it very well, since they both had flak jacket. It was 2 teams, I feel like, playing it intelligently, and EnVyUs with JCap just ended up coming out on top.
And one of my favorite rounds as well that I kind of want to go back and at least auditorily highlight is when Clayster was able to hit that the flank on the wall run when he was on defense, goes up behind two players, and this was without Afterburner, keep in mind. So this is why EnVyUs was not aware of it. They did not see any Afterburner. They weren't worried about the wall run flank, and as soon as Clayster hits that, now every round thereafter, EnVyUs has to be focused on that. We even saw later on, Slash was able to get a pick on Zuma doing the exact same thing, but the point of getting rid of Afterburner is, hey, I don't want to have to worry about any of these fancy wall runs that's outside of the map. As soon as FaZe shows their hand, EnVyUs, they have too much to worry about at that point. And of course, it still went all the way around 11, but FaZe making some smart decisions.
I'd say it was a very well S&D played on both sides for sure. There were smart plays you could highlight for both teams and several of the players on both sides. I mean, Enable had great specialist uses, even though he didn't have like highlight reel worthy kills like Clayster and Zuma and Attach. On the side of EnVyUs, we saw Slasher holding down those wall runs as well as he could. Didn't ever get picked off by Clay's sniper when he was watching water. I think it was Apathy that got picked off by the sniper at one point. But JCap, of course, 4 bomb plants to his name, playing those post-plant situations very well. He ended in lots of 2vX situations and was able to win a lot of them. Apathy, of course, strong sub, high impact player, just a great search and destroy all around.
Yeah, and kind of staying with the specialist theme in mind, the glitch that we saw from both Clayster and John, a little bit different strategies coming out of the two of them. We saw John was left in a 1v3. He's able to pick up a kill on Zuma, and then he knows that he is going to get traded very, very quickly. If he does not get out of there, there's no good ways to go about it. He pops the glitch, and unfortunately for him, he just popped right next to a player. But he was trying to put himself in a position to clutch the round, and that was when EnVy was up 3-1. Now, in a similar scenario, on the flip side of things, Clayster, when he had his glitch, FaZe was stuck in a 3v4 on defense, and they knew exactly where EnVyUs was going to be pushing from. Clayster pushes in with the LCAR-9, gets a pick, and again, that is a position where if you are at the man disadvantage, you know that they are going to trade that kill very, very quickly. Well, he pops his glitch, gets out of there instantly, and Enable is waiting on platform for the players to push out to try and get that trade. He gets the second pick, so very, very quickly, that 4v3 gets turned into a 3v2 in favor of FaZe.
Yeah, it was just great coordination between those two players. Clayster and Enable, two of the more vocal players on FaZe. You'll hear a lot of them shot calling. You hear them honestly having conversations in the game like, I think they're going to rotate. No, they're not. Okay, got it. And then they're able to orchestrate another play after that with their communication. And just that one, just seeing it play out very well. Clayster knew Enable was behind him. The glitch, of course, he's able to get that kill without being punished. And it's just an awesome play and awesome search and destroy every single round of the way. If you want to know how to play Evac S&D, these guys did it very well.
And again, this is the match that is incredibly important. This is an elimination one. The loser gets 4th place at MLG Orlando, and the winner has the chance to continue to fight on to make their losers bracket run to potentially go up against either Optic or Elevate, or even both of them depending on how the tournament works out. But again, this is also for momentum going into Call of Duty XP, the most important tournament of the year. So a lot is on the line here for this match, in a close one we've had so far. I think it was what, about 13-point differential in the hardpoint, and then a round 11 game in the S&D. So fire coming back and forth between these two teams, and good news as well, there is no reverse sweep. If we're tied at 1-1, we're not going to see another one of those here, at least for the moment, at Orlando.
Yeah, and FaZe had, what, 2 of those back-to-back at MLG Anaheim against both EnVyUs and Splice, sending the Europeans home. They're certainly capable of doing that. I mean, I thought for sure that we could have seen something like that happening again here, but EnVyUs, of course, taking that first map is going to put a halt on that. So we're all tied up 1-1. And what are you thinking about this uplink here? We got a breach uplink coming up.
Honestly, it's one of those things that I think it's going to come down to the specialists. Both teams are at the top of their game. FaZe seems to be on form. Envy has been looking fantastic. And it was something that I think it was Replays and Courage were talking about yesterday, where there's nothing either of the teams are doing right. They're playing really good Call of Duty for about 9 minutes in, but then that final minute, something happens, something goes crazy, and then there's that one definitive play that changes the game. So we've seen 2 incredibly close matches by far so far in the hardpoint S&D. And keep in mind, that glitch, the 2 different glitches we saw that last game, could have been the decision maker overall for the impact in the final score of the game. So again, closely contested teams. I think the specialist is going to be the decision maker, which I know is much to the chagrin of many of the Call of Duty fans out there.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to as well, is just how well you can allocate those and how expensive each each drone play is. If you're spending 3 and 4 specialists, or if you're spending 2 specialists and 3 deaths in order to get 1 point play, you're not going to be able to relay those, and teams that are capable of doing that are going to punish you for it, and you're not going to be able to answer back to it, and it's just going to snowball out of control. So we're going to have to see which team does it the best in this game mode.
And also, guys, as you can see now on your screens, we have the update from the Alpha stream. Optic Gaming is currently up 2 maps to none against Team Elevate, much to the happiness of the majority of the community, I assume. But again, we've seen the theme of reverse sweep so far in this tournament, so you do not want to count Elevate out quite yet. They've gone against Optic Gaming in the past in pressure situations, but at the very least, in all likelihood, based on those scores so far, that means the winner of our current game, FaZe and EnVyUs, will likely be going up against Team Elevate for a chance to fight against Optic Gaming in the grand finals.
And both of these teams are just such stiff competition. I mean, in this series alone, we saw, of course, EnVyUs on their best, one of their 2 best hardpoint maps, which is Fringe hardpoint. They were like 5-1 throughout stage 2, and just the way they play it is phenomenal. And FaZe is still able to keep it competitive. 240 to 250, that's not a bad scoreline at all. But guys, we are loaded and the players are ready to go. Ban and Protect is starting, Breach uplink, and of course, we're starting things off with a Vesper ban.
Yeah, and again, it's a little bit weird to see. This is the second time I think we've seen the Vesper ban, at least on the Bravo stream this entire tournament. And again, Attach pulled it out last game that he was on the Alpha stage, and that is a gun that after the last patch is beyond incredibly powerful. It is a whole different tier of guns. It's right up there with the RK5 in terms of just overall destruction that comes out of those bullets. And again, we even saw earlier Zuma, it was on Fringe hardpoint, I believe. JCap had the active camo popped, and he hit fire 1 bursted, an invisible person with the RK5. So these guns are deadly, and John does not want to have any part of that.
You got to remember up close, that's exactly where it's supposed to excel. Even sometimes against subs, it just depends on where you're at. If those bullets can connect, it's a high fire rate weapon, at least within the burst, and is able to do something like that. And he just happened to connect with all of them right there. Zuma waiting on his ban here. We already have Overdrive out of the game as usual in uplink. Overclock also going to be gone. Rapid Fire did make it in the hard point. It could, or no, it did not make it in. I'm sorry. It made it in the last series with that Rise played on Bravo stream. Camo, of course, is going to be gone. One of the more dangerous abilities that can almost guarantee you uplink scores sometimes. Heatwave still in the play. HVK is gone. That is a popular weapon for these close quarters maps. Man of War still is in the game. I think that favors Team EnVyUs more so than FaZe Clan.
Yeah, the HVK getting taken out is understandable. It has picked up a lot of traction as of recent in both the CWL and really all over the world. We see all the people in the world using the HVK. It's been on the up and up, and it is a very versatile gun as well. But since we're not going to be seeing that, we are moving into the specialist draft again. Trying to stick with that Tempest. I think in the hard point, Clayster got the better of him with the Tempest. I think we only saw like 2 kills total come in, but just something to keep in the back of your mind as this game goes on.
Yeah, Clayster I think was more impactful in the Fringe hardpoint than Slasher with the Tempest. So Clayster's Tempest was more impactful than Slasher's Tempest is what I meant to say. And getting into this Breach uplink here, we're still seeing that mirror matchup in that regard, and with the rest of the abilities as well. A lot of the top abilities, Overdrive and Camo being banned out, is going to mean that Zuma and JCap have to pick between like the likes of what Vision Pulse, Glitch, and Psychosis. And Psychosis seen way more often than both of those in this game mode.
Yeah, Psychosis you earn very, very quickly. You're going to get it multiple times a game. And it's an incredibly useful thing as well, at the very least to cause chaos. It definitely has its purpose. Now on Breach, it is a little bit tricky to use it. You cannot use it over in the construction area at all. You got to make sure you're either in Palace or mid-map or under one of the portals, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. But moving on to players that we are going to be on the lookout for EnVyUs, I think the entire game pretty much comes down to Apathy. I know Slasher is going to perform. He has been a monster this entire, well, really Black Ops 3. He's been very talented. JCap is always going to be able to not necessarily put up numbers, but he will play consistent, and John is the same way. He's either going to be break even or he's going to be good. So Apathy, he can be very hot or cold. He got off to a pretty slow start, I believe, earlier in the hard point, and then right around Grandma's is when he turned up, and that's when the score line kind of got blown out of proportion. And then over to FaZe Clan, I'm looking out for Attach. I have plenty of faith in Clayster. Enable's been playing pretty phenomenally as well. You never really have to worry about Zuma, except, you know, it's the on and off games in Search and Destroy. But for Breach uplink, Attach, he's my guy.
See, it's funny you mentioned Apathy, and of course, you always have to mention Apathy in a respawn game mode, despite whatever team he's on. But I'm looking at Slasher here. Slasher, I feel like, is a huge asset for EnVyUs in any game mode with a respawn delay. That's going to be uplink and CTF. He just has this robotic game sense, especially when he has that extra amount of time to try and figure out where players are coming from. You always see him going on these crazy streaks and in a power position with that AR, allowing his team to play around him. JCap, though, throughout this tournament, and more specifically, has been so impactful with like high kill games and high objective stats in that same match.
Either way, guys, again, I expect these two teams to go head-to-head, potentially for an overtime scenario, but we've had two incredibly close games so far. The round 11 in the Search and Destroy, about 13 points, deciding the hard point. So expect these guys to go toe-to-toe, and this is where the big plays matter the most. Whoever can come up most clutch for their team is likely to put themselves in a very good position to win the map, and this is potentially the swing map for the series as well to go up 2-1.
So guys, again, tweet your predictions for this matchup. FaZe Clan versus Team EnVyUs. Use the hashtag MLG Orlando. Let's go ahead and flip through some of these players' classes and see what they're going with after the ban and protect, influencing things. Clayster pulling out the Shiva again. We did see it in the Search and Destroy. Wasn't incredibly impactful, but in the round 11 it certainly was, finding that first kill in the 2v2. Now looking over, or in the 3v2, excuse me. Now looking over on the side of Team EnVyUs, we're going to see 2 ARs and 2 SMGs. Who do you want to go on board with, gents?
Well, you're on board with Slasher. You said that was your player to look out for the match. So let's stick with him and see what he does off the rip. Of course, with those long lines of sight, you expect him to go top AC, trying to look over the player top broken or on top of B-Dom. That's exactly where he preempts. No one up there right now for FaZe. Either way, a quick 3 down in favor of EnVyUs. Last player alive, Zuma, needs to cause some disruption. He's at least able to pick up 1 kill before he loses his life.
Yeah, Zuma makes the best of the 1v4 situation and finds his kill. So now we have an opportunity here for EnVyUs to throw a 1-point play, and no one's there to intercept it. That's it. Enable, though, is able to stop the bleeding and cut Slasher down. 3 players fall for Team EnVyUs. Enable still in position. Apathy is just going to try and be a nuisance in the FaZe base. No one turning back for him. Attaching place to seem completely unaware, but they're still able to get away. Great movement from them.
Well, right now, FaZe going for the full wraparound. You see 3 kills are actually going to go all the way in EnVyUs' favor, so not much cooking there. Enable, though, all the way from the flank, has been able to pick up 2 more kills. He's going to be on a 4 streak, and, well, he has the chance to get some kills on the drone if he goes over for it. Of course, John right now is going to be bottom lab. Actually, that drone is going to be 15. Didn't even realize it at the moment, so no points on the board for FaZe despite a little bit of momentum, but they're going to be on the attack. Once again, Clayster has that drone in hand.
Clayster trying to go for the lower wall run, kind of, chokes on the movement a little bit there, and the drone's going to fall off and reset as he's taken down. Zuma, though, is able to pick it up right off the respawn, again dying in the exact same fashion, and looks like that's John that's getting John that's a part of these kills here on mid-map. Slasher also still alive. 3 players dead on FaZe coming up off the spawn. EnVyUs, I think they know they need to get some slaying going before they want to push into green with the drone.
Well, right now, John's going for the full wraparound. You see Slasher's the player that pushed up all the way to greenhouse. He picks up 1 kill, and that is the opening that Envy was looking for. If you can get this drone on top of greenhouse past halfway, that is guaranteed points, at least a 1-point shot. See, Slasher's able to pick up his 2nd kill. No one has stopped him. JCap protecting his teammate as well, but JCap is going to fall on the bottom. Slasher's going to need to go big for his team and at least keep that drone in the field of play before his team gets there. That's going to be the case. Has that in hand. He can go top greenhouse with it. John's picking up kills as well. This is at least a 1-point toss, if not the dunk. You see the nade comes in, and he's going to have to go for the safe play, but either way, putting Envy on the board up 2-0. Slasher just went huge.
Slasher on a streak again. You see that time and time again for EnVyUs on uplink. He's a big part of their success, sitting in that power position top green. It looked like the odds were heavily against him, and in fact they were, but still he made the most out of it, finds a 1-point play after several kills. Apathy is going to intercept that drone. I think it might have whipped a little bit anyway. JCap picking it up right after and trying to wrap it over towards cages.
And again, you see John is already in position. He's top broken. He's catching all of these players returning to their base, and he's did a fantastic job of it. So again, if JCap is able to get onto top greenhouse with this drone, that is near guaranteed points. He has that in hand. John's actually going to fall. Enable picks up a kill as well, and that drone is going to get reset. Good job enabling Clayster to stop the push from Envy.
That play looked like it was so much more set up for EnVyUs. Everyone was in position, kills going their way. I thought for sure we would have seen a score there from EnVyUs, but it wasn't able to work out. Clay going top green is going to shut down a couple of the players. JCap here with the drone is going to head towards Palace. He's going to wrap it through green. He does have John as the front line. Man of War, ADS, and Slasher finds a double kill. We're going to see a green spawn, so he has to know where they're coming from. Pre-aiming it. He's going to catch attach. 1 more top green. Not able to do too much as the 1-point play still goes in, but they're able to clear EnVyUs out of their base, and that's what FaZe needed in that situation.
Well, that's the 2nd time we've seen John able to slip through the cracks of the FaZe lineup. We saw earlier he was able to get to top broken, and as the players rotated back to mid, he was picking them apart, and that time he was standing in the base of FaZe, and they were clueless to it. So as soon as they rotated rotate back to try and stop the points from coming in. They got to deal with him posted up with an AR. So this is where communication is key. A lot of players do it all the time where they will call out exactly who they kill, and someone on the team keeps up with who we have and have not seen. But again, John keeps sneaking through. This time he's able to pick up Clayster in their spawn once again. Slasher actually is that Tempest in a fantastic spot, leading the charge for Envy. Again with Apathy getting the dunk in to take the lead 6-0.
And this is scary for EnVyUs. You're looking at a 14-4 Slasher pulling the Tempest out on a 5-kill streak in a power position. Clayster though shuts it down. Really though, what I was saying, if Slasher is so dangerous in this uplink, I'm afraid of what the next map is going to look like when they get into EnVyUs' best game mode. But looks like FaZe is in control. Enable Heatwave with the drone. John shuts it down, grabs the drone, wraps it back. Clay falls off. 4 versus 2. EnVyUs is in a good position to run it up broken, or excuse me, not broken. That's going to be B-bomb site, and he's going to hopefully make the most of his play.
John going huge once again. He's got a little bit of trouble to deal with over here by construction. So he's actually going to get Heatwaved in the back. But what we saw earlier, he picked up the heat wave. Clayster was like, hovering above the bottom of the map. Once you get heat wave, you fall straight down. So he not only gets the kill, he stops the drone carrier, stops any points. That is the 3rd or 4th time we've seen John going massive for his team, helping out greatly, and now Slasher causing problems over by B. 12 seconds left. I don't believe either team is going to be able to get any points on the board unless Attach can hit the 1-point shot. Able to sneak by Slasher as well. He's taken some damage, has one opportunity to get this in, and that is going to be the case. The kill does not come in. Maybe slightly poor awareness on Slasher to push a little bit too far, but Attach with the sneakiness to at least get FaZe on the board.
Yeah, Attach definitely. I mean, I don't think Slasher even expected him to have the ball to do a play like that, but it worked out in his favor, able to get the 1-point play. Still though, that 5-point deficit, as FaZe gets over to the more favorable side, we could see a very similar half. I mean, we're not seeing a bad first half out of really anyone on FaZe. I think that everyone kind of made the most of what they had, working from those broken spawns. They were able to stop a lot of what the relay setups could have looked like. So FaZe is looking good, guys. Do not count them out. 5 minutes to work with. They're still in this game.
Well, on the attack, you see Zuma last time he was able to get inside, pick up a kill, the only one on his team to do so. This time, Pops the Psychosis. Clayster is going to be up top with the Tempest as well, and that is going to force Envy to back down just a little bit, hitting some nasty shots, though that is going to be 3 down in Envy's favor. This time it's going to be Attached by himself, and, well, he tried to pick up the drone. He's not going to go anywhere with it. After going to be bumping into Zuma. He's going to fly right past, goes for the 1-point toss, which is intercepted by Enable, saving the points there. FaZe now on the attack, potentially trying to wrap it around Green, but they're going straight into Slasher.
Yep, Zuma not able to finish the kill there, but it's fine. Enable is there for the interception, resetting his armor. He's got a wall of EnVyUs players in front of him. He's going to need it, and Apathy's able to find the kill. Staying alive afterwards, too. No trades going down in favor of FaZe. Finds the second, the drone's reset. Let's see what Clay and Zuma are going to do around mid-map here. Zuma gets shut down from Palace, Chance.
Clayster is going to be set up. He has that drone in hand. He's going to toss it forward manually into Broken. That's just to keep the pressure off of mid-map, and he's able to pick up a kill as well.
What are you doing?
No one for FaZe right now is going to be in that situation to get the drone, but they don't have to worry about anything other than picking up kills, and Clayster is going to be doing exactly that.
John completely unaware of Clayster firing an inmate meters away from where he's standing. Slasher, though, 20-9, remaining double positive for a lot of this game, and he's finding himself a 2 streak, and he's alive in his green. A minute and a half so far into the half, and no points going in favor of FaZe. Now that they've gotten on the more favorable side on this map. Clayster and Attach, though, are going to be pushing up towards green. Attach is taken down by Apathy. Clayster needs to trade. He's able to do so. Finds another one. That's kills. 2. 3-piece in the making here as Clayster tosses the Semtex to bait him out. He runs out of ammo and John finishes the kill.
That's unfortunate too, because that's exactly when the support from FaZe was coming in. So he was almost able to hold on just long enough. Enable, though, is able to pick up a kill. Zuma's going to have that drone in hand. Going to be trying to do something sneaky, but you see he's actually going to fall off the map. Tried to hit the wall run from the outside, but it wasn't quite able to pull it off. Either way, though, no damage done necessarily for FaZe. FaZe, you don't throw nades in your face, by the way. That's not helpful.
He meant to throw it on the outside of Broken to try and hit a lane for him, but he's not able to do so. John finds 2 kills again. Big opportunity for him to do so with Attach running the drone towards Palace, but Slash is going to shut him down. 3 versus 3 situation. Players coming off spawn, and that's going to be Apathy that's able to get the drone immediately. And it looks like they're going to try and run it straight through FaZe's base from Palace, but they're going to be met by Zuma and Attach, and we have another FaZe player coming through the lab. He's got to hit the melee, not letting him get close enough. That's going to be a gunfight win for Zuma. 12 and 20 at the moment, but he's had some pretty big plays, or attempted some pretty big plays around the objective.
Clayster already set up on top greenhouse, rotating over very, very quickly. Picks up the first kill with the Elcar 9 as well on JCap. This is pretty much guaranteed points for Zuma. He's actually going to get killed by Slasher and Apathy. I take that back. Able to come on the wall run from the side, jumps over, doing the high wall run. Despite the fact that he died, he was able to make it over top so it falls in. I thought for a second that Apathy and Slasher were able to pull it off. They were doing the sneaky outside wall run to get up top. That is not what Clayster was expecting. Either way, though, now just a 2-scoring differential between these two teams. 4 points in total, though it is going to be EnVyUs with that drone control. Apathy has it in hand. If he can get around, potentially going to get a 1-point toss in. He has teammates pushing in through lab, though. Enable's able to pick up kill. Going to hit that quick side toss. No one there for the interception. Enable was too busy killing everyone else. Now John, the last one alive, putting on the pressure for EnVyUs.
Clayster running the drone through bottom palace. Not going to do too much with no front line. 3 players alive for Team EnVyUs, and they all find a kill. The kinetic armor comes into play. Enable wants to buy Team some time. He tags up a player, finds a kill, but he's not able to do too much with Apathy running it down the opposite side of the map, and John is already there to meet him for it. This is scary if you're a FaZe fan. John's alive in the enemy base and finds a kill. One around the corner, but it doesn't matter. The dunk comes in. The heat wave is too late, and Zuma is able to clear their base, and that's been the story so far. Just FaZe doing the best of what they can, but it's after the fact. FaZe scores every time.
Well, that is another situation where John is just able to stick behind enemy lines. We saw he was on bottom lab. He picked up a kill. FaZe knows he's there. They try to push past, and then eventually they just forget about him. Then he's able to pick up 2 kills, allowing the dunk to come in. Slasher with the Tempest, only able to pick up 1. JCap, though, pops the side coasters. Good luck picking a drone to shoot at, or a clone, excuse me, and another dunk comes on the board. EnVyUs with the 11-2 lead, 38 seconds left. FaZe, without some sort of a miracle, are not going to be able to win this game.
40 seconds left. That's about it, and that's just been excellent uplink play out of Team EnVyUs. And you mentioned earlier, around 2 minutes left in the game, that play that EnVyUs made where they went on their wall run around green. I'm really happy you highlighted that. The way that FaZe was playing it when they were on base defense on a bad side was they were playing back, right? Enable would sit on the AC. He was able to take the players out after they scored. EnVyUs decided to just face it head on. John came out of that power position, pushed up towards green, and they were able to respond. They still got the 1-point play scored on them, but it was just a difference in the play that kept everyone down for FaZe. And yeah, we're seeing the dunk here, but that's just too little too late. EnVyUs is going to take map number 3.
Yeah, really the standout things for me in that game was, well, 1, attach win double negative. He was the player that I wanted to look out for FaZe to step it up. That was not the case. Slasher had a fantastic performance, 28-19, but got to give all the credit in the world to John. Not only did he tie Slasher with 28 kills apiece, he was the one that was making some incredible plays to allow EnVyUs to soar, constantly getting behind enemy lines, and FaZe was just not aware of his presence, and he did damage. And all 3 times he was able to do so, it resulted in a 1-point toss and 2 dunks. So 5 points as a direct result of what John was able to accomplish.
Both Slasher and John capable of so many high-impact kills. We saw Slasher going on several streaks and maintaining a great KD, nearly 2.0 for a lot of the map, and that's what I mentioned. Slasher's just so strong in this game mode, and coming into the CTF, I don't see EnVyUs slowing down at all.
Well, we're going to be able to find out again. The reverse sweep situation is not among us. EnVyUs, though, with the 2-1 lead. So we saw 2 very close games earlier on. This third one, of course, it was a very definitive. We know exactly who the better team was in this game mode. But moving on, it is going to be Stronghold CTF. And normally people moan and groan about this map. But you know what? I'm actually kind of excited because I watched FaZe play on this map earlier this weekend, and they won like 6 flags to 1. They were running a train. So this is a map that is normally incredibly low scoring. We've seen double OTs where not a single flag cap comes in, but they were able to score multiple times. So I'm excited to see about whether or not Envy can learn from what FaZe was doing previously in this tournament and clutch up and win 3-1.
Yeah, EnVyUs, I got to say they look pretty strong going into this game. I think have they won all of their CTFs so far in this event? I know for a fact that they've won at least 3, but that's just of the ones that I've seen. And of course, casting here on Bravo, I've missed a couple of alpha matches. Would you happen to have any idea of what their CTF record looks like just this weekend alone?
Oh, I wish I could keep up with all of that. I'm not Rain Man, not Ken Peek. If only. On the bright side, though, something I am capable of doing is giving you guys an update. Optic was able to pull off the 3-0 victory over on the Alpha stream. So now the storylines we have set up here is the winner of our current game, FaZe and Envy, are going to be able to play Elevate in the losers bracket finals. And then, of course, the winner has the chance to go and play Optic Gaming, where they have to win 2 best-of-5s, which sounds terrifying. The only team that has ever pulled that off in the history of Call of Duty to make a losers bracket run and win the double best-of-5s in the end was FaZe Clan with this exact roster, but they got to get past Envy first.
How poetic would that be if FaZe Clan made it there and did it again? But let's Baby steps, one map at a time, heading into EnVyUs versus FaZe Clan. We're seeing the Stronghold CTF Shiva ban in full effect. Of course, they want to stop Clayster from using that and playing that base defense. The Vesper is next to be followed up. The camo ban from Enable, that is certainly a strong ability to use in game modes like uplink and CTF, especially when you're the flag carrier, so it makes sense to see these three first.
Well, and it's interesting as well. Again, we brought up the Vesper ban earlier on, but now the Shiva, because we saw some of the damage that Clayster was able to do earlier on in the game, but that is 2 bans specifically coming in with guns that they don't want to deal with going against FaZe Clan. So that kind of highlights the versatility of some teams. You know, like Luminosity has the versatility. Yes, the versatility between these two teams. Versatility. There you go. We got the FizzErp word coming into full effect.
We're on it.
But again, you have players like Study who are so good with a sniper that 3 bans have to be focused directly on that. And of course, now with FaZe, 2 bans are directly just because of what the guns that players use. So your standard bans, your overclock, your rapid fire, your high cal, those are secondary to being concerned about what the other team can bring to the table.
High caliber rapid fire going to be gone there at the end. Overdriving camo, 2 of the biggest specialist abilities to use in game modes like CTF and uplink where you're carrying an objective. So of course we're going to see them gone. Like you said though, 2 targeted bans towards the players that they know are going to use it. And as we get into the specialist draft, I think we're going to see Tempest on both sides. Clayster has shown that he favors that over the Scythe pretty heavily, and Slasher in the series has run the Tempest the entire time thus far. Now on the side of FaZe Clan, we're seeing Kinetic Armor, Heat Wave, and Psychosis. On the side of EnVyUs, we're not seeing Kinetic Armor. We talked a little bit about this earlier. Oh no, we are. I'm so sorry. At the end there, Apathy was able to pick it up, but 2 of the strongest abilities on both sides are going to be Kinetic Armor and Heat Wave.
Yeah, complete mirror matchup as one would expect at this point. And again, one of the things we've tried to talk about throughout this series is the battle of the Tempest between both Slasher and Clayster. I think we gave a slight edge to Clayster over in the hardpoint. Honestly, it's kind of 50-50 in the uplink. Again, not too much damage was done. So we haven't seen any flashy plays thus far, although we've seen a couple cool, nice shots. But I think Stronghold CTF is the perfect place to see it because it is incredibly difficult when you're trying to deal with a player that is sitting at the very back of the match on the orange car, head glitch, on statue, sitting on the far back behind satellite like 100 feet because you have Narnia built into this map for whatever reason so far back from where the flag is. But those players are incredibly difficult to kill, especially when you have your submachine gun players. Those are the ones that are pulling the flag. So you're going to expect that the Tempest is the moment where the ARs are going to be pushing up aggressively to take out those defensive role players.
Chance, I gotta ask you. You gave me cop-out answers for the first 3 maps that we saw. When I asked you for your predictions, you would end it with, it's impossible to choose. You would never pick a team. And now we have a series-deciding map here. I want you to tell me, who do you think is gonna take this CTF? Does EnVyUs end it? Or does FaZe Clan answer back?
Well, FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan is the only team I've seen in recent memory. Of course, I haven't been able to watch every stream on Alpha, or definitely not the open bracket, but only team in recent memory that really was able to make a commanding performance on Stronghold CTF. And again, they were able to win like 6 flags to 1. I think even earlier, FaZe Clan was playing whoever it was on Alpha. I think it might have been Luminosity, and I think they won the CTF relatively handily. I think EnVyUs is certainly not bad at the map as well, but if I'm forced to pick, which you put me on the spot, I got to pick FaZe Clan. I want to see the Game 5. It's going to be the most interesting thing possible, you know?
That's what I wanted to hear, and of course, I'm on the side of Team EnVyUs. I hype up their CTF play every single time we see them play, and with Slasher, I think that this is going to be a huge victory for them. He's coming off of the uplink hot, and I don't know if FaZe could respond to something like that. Well, I think we're going to see lots of streaks on his end.
Yeah, and we're going to see how well FaZe can bounce back as well, because again, that was easily the toughest loss that we have seen so far in this series. And again, you had a player like Attach, who's normally on point, going double negative. So will he be able to perform? Again, submachine guns are a little bit tricky to use because they're perfect once you're inside a mansion, once you're around the head glitch area, but once you're in the situation where you have to fight an AR on a head glitch in the back of the map, it is incredibly tricky to pull off.
All right, and on both sides, we're going to see 2 ARs, 2 subs. Very standard for the Stronghold CTF here. Very big map, of course, so you want that AR presence, but you want the pressure to be kept up with your submachine gun players. Who do you want to jump aboard with first, Chance? Who do you think has the hot hand in this series?
Well, either Slasher or John, honestly, for Envy, but if you want to go on board with the FaZe Clan guys, it could really anyone's guess at this point. But again, we saw John performing massively, making all of the correct plays in the uplink. And then Slasher, well, he was just tanking it out the entire time. However, is able to get that first blood on the map, and now he's pushing all the way through bunker.
John, fighting with this player just on the outside of bedroom. Zoom is not dumb enough to jump up in the face of a pre-aimed AR, though. He's going to hit the wall run and try and get around him. Instead, great play, and he finds himself a kill on Apathy. Now, he finds himself behind enemy lines, tagged up a bit, trying to buy some time and catch him off guard, but no, John's able to shut it down. responding very quickly. He knew that was his original gunfight to win. Slasher, though, is able to catch Enable in the back of the base. That's a double kill. Expect lots of base defense like that coming from him in this game.
And here is exactly a picture-perfect example of why CTF are often very low-scoring games. Clayster off the respawn, he sat in his base and sat and watched the flag, which is fine. It's the safe thing to do, but he left his teammates in a 3v4 on the opposite side of the map. He wasn't going to be there to watch any cuts, even if they got a flag out. So just the concern of getting punished for pushing out of your base is enough for people to turtle up inside. Again, making it very difficult to get any flags out of this map. Of course, now though, FaZe is pushing up relatively aggressively. You see Envy completely turtle up in their spawn. If FaZe is able to pick up some kills, that's going to force Envy spawn over towards bunker, and that is a very good situation where players are just going to get funneled through.
EnVyUs could go on a flank right here, and that'd be a huge thing, but it looks like we're just going to see Slasher go down mid, and Enable's going to be able to take him out. Apathy and John left alive in their base still, just playing heavy base defense, which should be expected on a map like Stronghold CTF. One player just in front of him on the B side. There's the flank coming in from Mansion. Attach gets it, stays alive, but not long enough as John's able to answer to it. Zuma, though, coming through, popping the Psychosis. He's going to find a kill on the JCap, and John is alive. Still able to shut him down with the HVK.
Well, right now, Envy has barely even crossed the 50-yard line of the map. In fact, I don't think they've been able to do so. They are all just been staying in their spawn. And again, it's a dangerous game to play, right? Because if you sit in spawn, eventually you got to imagine FaZe is going to be able to break through when they have complete control of the map, because all four players have been pushing up with the exception of one time. So the fear for FaZe is just whether or not a player is going to be able to sneak through. But now you can see what they're trying to do, throwing the smokes on the flag, trying to get some of those sneak pulls. But finally, Envy, someone was able to get behind enemy lines, and that's going to be JCap.
Attach burns the heat wave there, not able to connect with anyone even after his smoke grenade. He's trying to make a decent play, but nothing is going to happen. Apathy and Zuma finding kills on your scoreboard here. Let's see exactly what the action looks like for them. Apathy catching Zuma around the corner. Flag pull, that's going to be Enable. It does it. It looks like he's going to get away pretty clean here, but both flags going out. Let's see what's on the side of JCap as he's facing players, and a gunfight wins it. Apathy alongside him. Psychosis has popped, and we're seeing them make moves to a stalemate.
Well, now you see through blue arrows converging on rocks from all different angles. One from mid-cut, one from top rocks, and one from satellite. They got to get the flag on the flag carrier. Enable, though, wins the gunfight with that flag in hand. Apathy, though, coming from a different angle, is able to pick up one. He's got a lot of players to deal with, and again, FaZe is going to be spawning on their teammate with that flag, so it's going to be pretty easy as long as they make sure to trade all of their kills. Attach, able to get the second one as well. Apathy kills the flag carrier. He's got to dive on it, not able to do it in time. So again, with that stalemate situation, I think the only player in position, well, was Apathy to stop that flag, and he's going to get taken down. Stalemate situation. Let's see how long this takes.
Closest player to the action is Clayster, but he's going to wait patiently for his team, staring directly into the wall. And it doesn't look like too much action's going down. They're just kind of waiting for his players to come and join him.
Well, I think the idea right here from Clayster is he's going to wait. Never mind, he's not going to wait. He's going to die. I was going to say he's going to wait long enough for Envy to push out of their base to go on the attack, and once he felt comfortable that there was no one watching any cuts, he was going to try and have the 1v1 against JCap. Of course, JCap, though, has that pre-EnVyUs coming from. Easy gunfight to win. Now, of course, there's going to be a player, I think that's Apathy, actually working from top satellite, and no one is watching it for the moment other than the individual flag carrier, and of course, Attach. Pretty sure he has a submachine gun all the way to the back of the map. He might be able to do some damage. Has the kinetic, going for the kill, has two people to get, not able to dive on the flag. Enable is going to be there in time. Meanwhile, Zuma trying to pick up kills and cause problems. Slasher, though, going to be able to shut him down. So an exact same situation going down on opposite sides of the map. The flag carrier gets taken out, but the teammates are able to make the defensive stand and pick up the flag for their fallen foe.
So Apathy pops the kinetic right there and only gets himself one kill and is instantly traded, but that was actually a very good play. He got the communication that the first player was tagged up, he knew where he was at, and he also, of course, knew where the flag guy was at. So his idea was going to find the kill use it with his kinetic armor, and then find the second one on the tagged up player. So he had the right idea, not able to finish the job though. The enemy team, FaZe, able to respond very well to it.
Well, now JCap is going to be the player on the attack. He's going to have a 1v1 against Enable, and he's cooking a nade as well. If he can get this kill, that would be huge to get there. Enable has him completely tagged up though, and JCap is going to get shut down. Meanwhile, the flag on the opposite side of the map, well, that one's going to stay safe as well. John was able to pick up the kill, and this round is going to end 0-0. But at the very least, they're pulling flags. I'll give that to them.
Yeah, it's important to note there at the end that Enable burned his cam or used his kinetic armor in fear of JCap taking him down. And going in the second half, EnVyUs has two abilities to work with.
Always going to be a factor, things to try and keep up with. Again, flipping sides, going to see who goes on the advantageous end. FaZe last time, when they were spawning over by a satellite, working their way through rocks, they kept the pressure on for the first 3 minutes of the game, and of course they just got counterpulled as stuff was going on. It's also worth mentioning, Clayster sitting at 3 and 10, of course no damage is done, but he is definitely an important player to be looking out for this second half.
He's done a lot of waiting for his team for a lot of these plays. As you mentioned, he was just kind of sitting around mid earlier on. You know, he's going to have a very low kill game, but he's got to win some more of these engagements if he's going to have so many deaths. JCap, last man standing forward. Team EnVyUs finds one kill on the Clay, trying to make up for it. Zuma pulls the flag, though, and this could be a pretty decent flag run, but it looks like a lot of the EnVyUs players are already overextending and will meet him there. Are we going to see smokes come into play is the question. No, because Attach is dead, and he's the one that's running them. EnVyUs players getting taken down in the mansion, and this might just be a flat cap for Zuma. No one's in the way. There it is. 1 point on the board for FaZe Clan.
And that is the beauty of the 4-man push, working together as a unit instead of leaving a teammate in that defensive role. Because if you die, you are going to spawn up on your side of the map. The fear is if you let a player sneak through, but we always know, we hear about it all the time from Mr. X. Clayster is very, very talented at keeping track of all 4 players on the map at any given time. So he is comfortable with pushing up with the AR to make those plays, and that is the aggression from FaZe, again, paying off, taking the lead 1-0.
All right, Apathy catching Clayster off guard. There's another kill that goes down in his favor. Enable is trapped in bunker, and Apathy knows there's someone else around square here, but the heat wave catches him, and he can't do anything about it. John's there to make up for it. The flag is pulled. We have one player from Team EnVyUs that can stop the counter pull. That Slasher finds 1 kill and could get the second, but I don't think he knows that the player is right behind him. That's Enable. That shuts him down. Let's look and see the progress of this flag pull. It's John. He's also followed by JCap and has Apathy to work with on mid, but there's the flag pull. These 2 players, Apathy and JCap, have to stop this.
Well, Enable wins the gunfight with the flag. He's got a player chasing him, though. JCap is going to get shut down as well. That flag is going to fall. John has it in hand. He's going to get the return himself. Now he's got to get back. He's got a 1v1. Clayster is on the hunt right now. It's going to be a bump. The heat wave is perfect. Shuts down the Tempest. He is going to get shot in the back. The heat wave does not extend far enough, so very nice play by Zuma. Again, the aggression from FaZe. All 4 players were on the attack to make that defensive stand.
It was definitely worth the heat wave, but the second player coming in was just too much for John to handle in that situation, having to go for the flag return by himself, also with the flag in hand. Now we have JCap behind enemy lines, missing a couple of shots there on Attach's sub. Difficult shots to hit for sure, and Attach is going to win that situation. Doesn't look like much is going to be made from it except for the sneak pull from Enable, which is quite a bit. Can't play that down. He's also going to get kinetic armor in a couple of seconds here unless he can get a kill and speed that process up a bit more. Led by his team, he's going to have Attach in front of him. Clayster just on the opposite side of B site. The Tempest comes out though. Slasher finds a kill.
Oh no.
Oh, and it chains. Flags down. Zuma's the last alive. Apathy has the flag out, and he's making his way across the map. Do we see a flag return here? There it is. John gets it at the last moment. Apathy should have a flag cap here. Guys, we're going to be tied up 1-1 in Game 4. EnVyUs puts it away.
And that was a very clutch Tempest as well. You see he picks up the first kill. Enable goes for the challenge. Does connect with the kill, but he falls into the chain.
Oh!
That is what's so powerful. Appy picking up the triple kill as well. He's going to be on a 4 streak, working his way towards some of those score streaks. Gets the 5th, shuts down Attach. He might as well shoot bodies at this point because he is going to be streaked out. EnVyUs has 1 minute and 45 seconds to work with. They're calling the streaks in at the enemies in the base. They can make a play here. All the enemies for FaZe right now are going to be outside. They have to force their way into mansion. EnVyUs knows exactly where they are. Picks up 3 kills. John pulls the flag. Enable the last one alive. Going to get shut down by John. He is going to be able to escape. He is on a foot race, and you can already see Slasher at the top of your minimap watching exactly what he needs to. If he picks up the kill, maybe he gets 2. This will result in a flag cap for Envy.
Exact same situation. He finds 1, but is traded. Streaks still coming in. Apathy's got him to work with team kills, but John gets the cap anyway. EnVyUs played that flawlessly and find themselves up 2-1.
Apathy completely turning this game around for his squad. Now FaZe is going to start turning into desperation mode. Stops the heat wave, gets the beat down as well. Fantastic stuff. FaZe, though, is going to need to get aggressive. There's also the 5th robot on the map, the Cerberus, the Hound of Hell, going to be causing all the more problems for FaZe to get past in the first. Now make it 3 kills in their favor. Attach the last one alive. 50 seconds. FaZe needs to pull off a miracle.
This game is spiraling out of control. Apathy made sure that he stayed alive for those last 50 points after his 5 kill spree to get the Cerberus. Now that it's called in, FaZe has to answer to it. But again, just like in the hardpoint, time is not what they have here at the end. They have to destroy the Cerberus. They have to get 4 down. They have to do it again and get the flag cap, and it's looking like the odds are stacked heavily against them.
You know, something has to be up, man. Clayster right now sitting at 4 kills and 20 deaths. Something is not going right. They're going to need to figure out that problem very, very quickly. 20 seconds left. The only player from FaZe that's nearby the flag is going to be Zuma, and you see how many of those blue arrows are turned to focus on him. Crafty, I think, as well, is going to be controlling that server. So there is literally nothing that can be done. Not controlling the server. He's capping flags. The server is doing the work on his own.
He's too busy controlling the game, Chance.
Finishes off with a 7-kill streak. Calls in the Hellstorm, picks up a kill. Calls in the Lightning, picks up the hill. He went on a massive streak at the end and won his team the game. We said he was, a little bit inconsistent at times, but when he is on, he can take over. 24 and 14. Fantastic performance coming out of him and Team EnVyUs.
You got to wonder what happened with Clay in this game. That's, like you said, well, I agree.
It's not right. Something's not right.
Something happened here. And I'm not entirely sure of what it is, but 4 and 22 is not what he does, not the numbers you're ever going to see him put up again. And EnVyUs is going to close out the series.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we saw a couple engagements where, like, he's going against a gunfight with John, where John has the flag in hand, but he pops the heat wave. So we've seen Clayster get put in quite a few unfortunate situations, but that is not a stat line you will probably ever see again without something completely reasonable happening. Yeah. So I'm not sure if we can get word on that, but that is absolutely nuts. Either way, though, EnVyUs, well, that's good in the series.
Right, EnVyUs coming through, showing just how their players can be in CTF. Just those streaks can become ridiculous, just oppressive. They're just bullies at some point. And Slasher, of course, watching the rotation, he wasn't able to get any sort of multi-kills, but he was able to buy his team some time by getting 1 kill and forcing them to focus him rather than the objective. So great plays all around by all the players on Team EnVyUs. But again, we got to wonder where Clayster was at that map and what might have gone down for him to go 4 and 22.
Either way, though, that is going to be the evident. FaZe Clan, they are going to place 4th at MLG Orlando. Team EnVyUs is going to be moving on to play against Elevate. And really, EnVyUs has been playing fantastic. They've taken 1 tough loss so far, I believe, to Rise. That was earlier on in the day, yesterday on Saturday. But since then, when their backs are against the wall, they perform very well. We even saw it in the individual game of the CTF. FaZe gets that first flag, and they turn up completely in the last 2 minutes. One player starts going off, makes massive plays, and that is the talent that this EnVy roster has. So devastating stuff. And again, guys, the next matchup, it is going to be Team Elevate versus Team EnVyUs for the chance to play against Optic Gaming in the grand finals. That's going to be it for us on Bravo, I believe, for the day. So yeah, we're going to sign off. Fox, do you have any final words for the fans before moving on?
No, thank you very much for casting alongside me, Chance. Awesome event so far. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I catch everything on Alpha. If you're watching this stream and you're wondering where all the action's going, it's going to the mainstream. Head to MLG.tv, head to the highest viewed stream on Black Ops 3 if you're on Twitch, and you'll see the rest of this action and see how these players finish the tournament for their share of $100,000. And guys, that's it for us on Bravo stream. We'll see you next time.